Welcome to Help from Heaven. We are here learning how to grow spiritually and what that really means. And here to help us is God coming through the awareness of my friend and author, Miss Constance Fox.
Hello, Stacy. Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
We're on episode 4, and we're just going to review last episode, and there will be a link to that video in the description below. But we learned the importance of forgiveness, not only of ourselves, but others, and actually this whole process of learning to remember who we truly are. We expressed our own private experiences with bliss consciousness last episode, which is really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. It's really great to hear what it feels like to be in our true state of being. We also found out the real nature of time on that last episode, and Jesus alluded to the truth about end times and what's coming. And I know that's what he wants to cover in today's topic, as per episode 3's how we left it off. But before we get to that, because that sounds like it's going to be a little heavy, I had a question for Jesus. I've been really delving into the manifestation aspect of the spiritual teachings, and I know that we're all creators. I'm curious, how did he turn water into wine? If he did. I mean, that's in the Bible, and it's a huge story that Jesus turned water into wine. What is the process of instant manifestation? Is my
Yes,
first
great
question.
question. And changing physical matter like that, even.
Yeah, just or having our thought and have it like appear without the false reality of time. But like it doesn't have to be a slow process.
Right,
He
right. You just,
proved that. Yeah, how do we get to that? What is that process?
yes, great question. I've heard how there's some, it's been said that there's some enlightened yogis that, if they think of an apple, that just will instantly appear. That's really, we're intended to be living from our full abilities. It's a great question there. And this is, Divine Mother and Jesus together as one. I guess that just going to be pointed out, just that we speaking together. But I think no, I think she just wants to come at some point. So yes, so we'll definitely do that. But this is Jesus here. I watched the last video, half of it, and I saw how sometimes I'm speaking and it was Jesus speaking through me, but it wasn't really obvious. I could see how maybe some people could see and think maybe I'm talking instead of that's Jesus's words speaking through me. So I'm just going to try to make sure that I kind of point that
Differentiate.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
differentiate the two for the viewers, because I know Stacy's familiar with me channeling and talking to Jesus and so forth, and so she automatically kind of knows the difference, But if they don't know me, I can see how that can maybe not be so clear. But yeah, so this is Jesus is what he's saying word for word here. Okay, 3 words. Mind over matter. Okay. Of course, we've all heard of that common term, mind over matter. So I'm sure you're going to clarify further, Jesus. Yes. It truly is mind over matter. When you believe something is possible, it is possible and it will be created without limitation. There is absolutely nothing you cannot create, experience, be. You're in a world of imagination, literally. You think this is a real reality and that Connie and Stacy is your real identity. Your souls are here experiencing physical life on earth through the human bodies that you have, that you inhabit, and forgot that you are the soul within the body, and forgot that you are the creator of your life. You forgot how you create. You forgot your power. You forgot your creator. So remembering is the only word that's really important in spiritual growth or with spiritual growth. Remembering what you forgot. This is also called increasing awareness or expanding your consciousness. Many words for it, but is remembering, remembering
Yeah.
all that you are, and truth and what's real. So when you get to a certain point in your evolution, in your state of consciousness, slowly, usually it's very slowly, you expand your awareness more and more and realize more and more that you're God and have all the power that God has and can do all the works that I can do and more than I did and more that I showed you when I was on earth. So now back to the turning water into wine. That's not the full story. I did not turn water into wine. It was simply like a magnified water. I guess maybe in those days, wine was considered something for kings and queens or wealthy people or something extra nice, wine or a luxury. So it wasn't wine. It was like liquefied God energy. It was life force, more life force in
Kind of
that
like
water.
mana, like mana. Didn't they use that
Yes,
word, like
yes,
life
yes.
force?
And it was kind of like magical, miraculous, the power in this water. So it wasn't just plain water. It was like turned into wine, which in those days was considered luxurious and gifted or whatever. But it was powerful. It was more powerful. I gave it life, more life. And the water was able to bring balance to the body of the person that drank from it, like kind of like more miraculously, because it was just more God energy, life energy, Jesus's healing energy, life force, light. And so it was very powerful. It became he did something to it to make it more powerful. And so maybe that's how they were able to maybe express it, that,
Makes
turns
sense.
water into like, wine, like the most luxurious liquid on the planet then or something.
Right.
So interesting.
How did he do that?
I gave it my appreciation. I thanked it, hydrating us, healing us, and I thanked God for the blessing of water and the life energy that He is. And blessed it to bless the people that were going to drink from it, to help them heal, expand their thinking and become like more evolved, more enlightened, more aware. I blessed the water basically, and that gave it more God energy, more life, more light from His love.
Does that same thing happen like when we bless our food before dinner or
Yes, he goes, yes, yes, yes. I'm embarrassed to say I don't usually do that. Only on a rare occasion do I.
I
I've got to
used
start
to.
doing that before every single meal. I'm glad you brought that up. And yes, and I'm glad you asked that because sometimes I wonder, does that really make a big difference? I don't know why I would ask that because of course when you're praying to God and thanking God, of course that's how could that never not be significant? So yeah, but he goes, yes, 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 yes. It brings in God energy. It brings in more love, more light, appreciation. It acknowledges God, and God hears every single prayer, every single word. So do I, meaning Jesus, of course. We are one and never, not hear a single prayer. And it always creates something. It always brings blessings. So yes, always pray and give thanks to our Father for your meal or this meal.
Is there a specific set of words he that's more magical or powerful, or is it just whatever comes from our heart when we bless our food? Is there something he prefers us to say?
Good question. You always ask such great questions, Stacy. Speaking from the heart is all that's ever needed. If you come across a prayer that you feel special connection to, or you feel a really special inspiration, or it opens your heart, or you feel like, oh my gosh, you love this prayer, then use that prayer. That is fine. Or just speak from the heart and give our Father thanks for this meal and what you're appreciative for. That's all.
So beautiful, but it's crazy that you said that because my next question, literally question number 2 on here, is actually coming from Chicago. And it says, what is the most important prayer we can say to God? And how do we say it correctly? So the fact that he went right into like prayer
Wow.
is pretty
Wow.
trippy. Well, let's see what does Jesus say, say is the most important prayer that we could say. Does he have a preference, or is it what resonates with us?
It says here, thank you, Father, for this food. Thank you for nourishing us. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for loving us. We love you, God. And thank you for, and it goes 1, 2, 3. Say at least just 3 things in the prayer before the meal that you're grateful for, appreciative of. And of course, that will vary maybe based on the day or who's having dinner with you or what's going on in your life. But add 3 things. Thank you for this, this, and this. And that is a beautiful prayer that's complete.
Okay. And is that just for pre-meal? Like, thank you for this meal, or can we leave that part out? If like, is this the most important prayer we could say to God on a daily basis?
All prayers are equally important, but I will say that a prayer for others is the highest form of prayer there can be. Praying for the good for another. That is like of the highest prayers. Um, but for yourselves, your loved ones, your friends, your family, yourselves, um, um, thank God for what you're grateful for that's going on with this person or in your life today or yesterday, and it will bring more blessings. It will bring more blessings. Always thanking our Father for your meal, but also for 1, 2, 3, whatever that might be on that day, or any other time, always brings more blessings.
Interesting. The prayer for others. I know people are always on their own individual path. Like, so say they're going through a loss. I know it's hard for us to judge a situation. We want to say, oh, it's a tragedy, but maybe their soul had that purpose for them. They were supposed to go through this. So instead of putting our wishes for them in the prayer, like, how can we state it so they get their higher purpose fulfilled? Because we don't always know why they're experiencing the things they're experiencing.
Yeah.
It might be for their soul's higher purpose, and we're judging it as a bad thing. What's a good way to just pray for somebody else without interfering with their soul's path to, God awakening?
Right. Good question. Is this? So this is funny. Okay. May I intervene? So someone's interrupting here.
Boy,
um, that's unusual. to be interrupting Jesus. Okay. Okay. So this is Mother Divine coming in that wants to answer that for some reason. Okay. Let me say something first, please, about why people experience painful experiences or challenges, um, or horrible experiences. Praying for someone to have peace, joy, comfort, love, resources that they may need. Pray for that for others, not necessarily to stop this experience or change this experience for them. That's understandable. You know, you want that to be over for someone you love if they're going through a challenging experience. And that is okay, of course, to ask for that. You're asking for that out of love and care for that person, but ask for the inner qualities like peace, comfort, help, support, more divine support, strength, courage, to feel more serenity, to feel more trust and faith, to feel more loved and cared for. So with that, I guess she just answered that, but she also now wants to answer why people go through trials and tribulations and sufferings and illnesses and lack, or like some, even traumatic experiences or all right, there's a few things here, and most of you listening will understand this, and a few will get a little threatened or have some resistance by hearing this, might not want to hear this or accept this as truth or reality. But your state of consciousness is always creating something. Your thoughts, beliefs, expectations, your feelings, your behaviors, your actions, every single thing that you do inside your body, meaning in your mind, and also externally in activity, I guess, of course, and how we treat others and ourselves, what we do, is always creating your reality. No one else is creating your reality. Now, that being said, there is also karma. And most of you have lived many lifetimes and have done many good things, many bad things, have been through beautiful, loving, wonderful experiences and many traumatic, horrible experiences, easy, peaceful deaths with loved ones all around you, and horrific, traumatic deaths. There have been many, many, many experiences throughout many lifetimes for each soul, each human soul. And remember the bread that gets casted out into the water that always comes back to us, or that story in the Bible, which is funny. She never brings out Bible stories, but she's bringing out that example. Energy, whatever energy you give out in whatever form, words, behaviors, thoughts, always comes back. So if you're experiencing a hardship or a struggle or an illness or challenge or stuck in this or that, it's always to learn something, and sometimes to clear karma, simply just to clear karma and learn how to accept the experience with acceptance, with non-resistance, surrendering your human resistance, which is natural. She says, which is natural. It's natural to want to resist a painful, undesirable experience, but don't let that supersede or predominate. Let your soul come in, your higher awareness, and say, God, I know I'm going through this for some reason. I know it's to teach me something, and or she literally says and / or like and or to clear some karma from my past, either in this lifetime or a prior lifetime. I accept this experience and I know it's not happening for no reason. Help give me more strength, more courage, more grace, more comfort, more peace, more harmony through it. Help give me the lesson I need to learn from it. If there's a lesson needed to learn, and more than anything, help me go through this with with love, with an open heart. Surrender any human anger. And she says, I will say human anger because it's not you. Your soul doesn't get angry, but your human self can get angry or bitter or all sorts of negative emotions. So surrender that to God and say, I know my human self is feeling betrayed, abandoned, victimized, angry, bitter, whatever. And I am not going to listen to it or give it much credence. I'll let it be there, but I'm going to stay in a higher state of awareness, higher state of feeling, thinking, perception, because I trust in you, God, and I know that you love me, and wants all goodness for me, all good things for me, and will help me get through this experience. And I am willing to learn. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to open my heart more and learn the lesson here. Please show me the way, show me the direction. Let me know what I need to know. Speak like this, she's saying, Divine Mother. Speak like this, kind of think like that, perceive like that. And always remember there's two parts of you. Don't forget that. Negative emotions arise. It's always from the ego. It's always from the human identity that's not who you are. It's an imagination. You're engulfed in it and think that's who you are because you forgot who you are, but it's just the role you're playing. It's your personality, it's your character, it's your human actor. It's that's playing a part. So just remember that throughout your days, because this will do magical things, miraculous things. You'll start to become more aware of your soul's awareness more and more and more, rather than going all day, every day, and you don't even think about having a soul. You don't even think about having a higher consciousness. Or, this is a very helpful, little teaching or something, she's saying. Oh, that's a good one. I've never heard them say that anything like that. To like go through your day and just kind of remember that we have a human self and of course a soul self. And anytime I have a negative feeling, it's okay. Just recognize that. That's coming from my human identity that's fear-based and separation-based. And my soul doesn't perceive that way. It's always in a state of love, peace, harmony, non-judgment, I guess. Anyway, I guess just remembering that consciously does a lot. So I got to write this down and try to start remembering to do that throughout the day.
I just read a book and he refers to the universal mind that is God, which is everything, as the unmind. And then our mind is our smaller thinking brain. And most of the stuff that comes from our mind is fear-based because we believe we're separate from God. So I've started trying to do like, that's from mind, not from unmind. Like I feel like your messages that you're getting are coming in from the unmind into your mind so that you can say them, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
instead of like soul and, I just feel like unmind is like very easier for me to be like, that wasn't
Sure.
from me. Like it's not the mind because everything
Right.
in our mind's perception is tainted because it's the ego.
Yes.
So when you give it to unmind, which you could say God if you want, but a lot of people have charge with that word or, even Jesus or angels or anything spiritual. But I just really like the simplicity of like unmind. And that encompasses all the good things that God is. And then
Yeah,
there's
where
mind.
it's not coming from the mind. It's
Yes,
not
anything
coming from the
outside of my mind.
intellect. It's not
Yes.
coming from, yeah, no, that's a good one.
Is that okay to use? Like, is that a good description, Divine Mother? Is that accurate to say like mind and unmind?
She goes, yes, 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 it is. It's a good word. I like it. She
So
says
it's
she
like
likes it. So I guess
universal
that means her
mind.
approval.
Okay, good. I like that. Yeah,
Um,
so
no,
I would
that is good. I like that too, because that just kind of, yeah,
there's no charge to it. It's just like
right.
I know through our teachings and through what Jay has taught us that the mind is already tainted from birth that we fear the separation of God. So we have fear in our perception, but the unmind doesn't have that. So I have to like remind myself throughout the day, like, oop, like try to get back into the stateless state that is unmind. If that
Yes.
makes any sense.
Yes. Yes. Well, it just begins with just simply remembering, like just mentally, consciously remembering,
Yeah. That there's a
and
difference.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That there's a difference.
So I
And,
try to stay more like in the unmind state because you actually have like less thoughts because I'm not giving any credence to like, oh, that's just my mind chattering. It's not real.
yes, you're so right.
There's no effect. Like I don't have to take that thought and make a whole looping story with all these emotions and go down some rabbit hole of like
Yes, I know.
false reality. Like it's not even true. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah, and that affects our feelings, our mood, our behaviors, our physical health. I mean, everything. It's funny you said that you have less thoughts because several of the, I'll just call it a state of a higher state of consciousness experience I've had that were only temporary, unfortunately. But I always had much less thoughts. So I'm glad you brought that up. But I think that's definitely the case for someone that is a higher awareness is less ego, less ego, less ego,
Yeah.
and less thoughts, less these mindless chattering,
Yeah.
meaningless thoughts.
So I have a question actually after reading some of this material, and then I thought about meditation, and I have to start meditating more to spend more time in the unmind.
Yes.
So basically, meditation is just kind of sitting more in the unmind. And Jesus teaches a mantra in one of your books, the I am mantra, which is just reminding us that I am God. I have a question of, is it okay to use the thinking mind with the like I feel like the I am is keeping the mind kind of busy and using that mantra to keep it distracted. But to me, it doesn't make sense to use the thinking mind to get into the unmind, if that is a question. Could Divine
Yeah, that's a
Mother
great
help
question. That's a
with
really
that?
excellent question. What do you have to say, Jesus? It's teaching your mind to slow down, going to just one thought, slowly, gently. The body slows down, the nervous system slows down, the breathing slows down, the body's functioning slows down. And then the mind starts to slow down using a mantra or quote word. And of course, I am is a very universally used mantra. And he says, and then after a few minutes or longer, depending on the person, the mind starts to get even slower and just going to gently, slowly repeating the mantra. He says, but then the gaps, the space, the brief second or two in between the repetition or of gently, slowly repeating the mantra or the word during the meditation becomes more and more. And that's the pure silence of our Father. That's your source of life energy. And it is also pure consciousness, creative intelligence, many words for it, the absolute, pure peace, love, energy, life energy. But you get slowed down. The mind gets used to slowing down and only repeating one word, like the mantra, like I am, I am, I am. Of course, thoughts come in, and that's natural and normal. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, did 5 minutes go by and I've been thinking about what I did last night or what I need to do tomorrow at work or, that's natural. But of course, when you just realize you're not repeating the mantra, you just gently go back to repeating it again. But it starts to, he's saying here, like it trains the mind to slow down and just go to one word. But then the spaces in between the one word become more and more. And that's the deep state. I have to say, Dr. Wayne Dyer, I think he calls that the zone.
Okay.
And Dr. Deepak Chopra calls that the gap. or maybe that's vice versa, but the space or the stillness or the space in between the thoughts, even though it might be a split second, but then as you meditate more and more, you'll have more of those empty spaces come where you transcend. They call it a transcendental state, or that's when you transcend, you go beyond the source of thought, and then it drops away. Even the word, the repetition of the mantra, it drops away, and now all of a sudden you like wake up, and 20 minutes has gone by, and it felt like 2 seconds, and you weren't repeating the mantra. You're in pure silence, pure stillness. That, of course, the Bible talks about. What do they call it? The still special place, or what's the word in it they use, or the still small space inside. But that's your source, like a spiritual battery, and tapping into that daily, day after day, starts to slow your mind, slow everything down, and bring in more balance, more harmony, better healing and restoration and regeneration of the body. And guess what else starts to happen? You start becoming less ego minded, less ego driven, and love based and love minded, and responding and acting and feeling and thinking, with more love in your consciousness or state of being than fear. So like less worry, more patience, more lovingness, more compassion, more kindness. Like rose colored glasses is kind of like, start having rose colored glasses instead of dark sunglasses, or you see things more negatively with judgment.
Right.
See the beauty of life more. And it's just thinking more like Christ or Buddha, or, if you prefer Buddha, or who, there's many spiritual masters, of course, you know, but yeah, it's thinking more like Christ. It's transitioning, transforming the mind. It's the renewing of the mind that's needed to get back to the Father's house of like enlightenment, as it's worded. So, okay.
It's
Wow.
good to know that we could use the mind, train the mind to kind of get into the unmind in
Yeah,
my
I
form
know.
of
That's kind
words
of
that I
kind of a
just
little
learned.
funny, isn't it? A little paradox, but yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed like contradictory of like, if I'm trying to get to the unmind, how can I use the mind to do that? But
Yeah, that was a great question.
okay,
And there's a lot of meditations where they just don't use a mantra. And they say just stare into a candle or a spot on the wall. And there's other, I'm sure there's probably thousands of meditations, but of course, a real common one is a mantra meditation. But I think they're very effective. But I think it's hard maybe for some people to just, stare at the ceiling or a candlelight, and their mind just goes, the whole
right.
time. And so it's easier, a little more effortless, I think, having a mantra meditation, because I think it automatically gets you to that more still minded state, and your whole body and nervous system and everything.
Okay, well,
But that was a fabulous question though, because it is kind of like a paradox. Like, yeah, using the mind to like get to the no mind state,
yeah,
but
I wasn't sure if that how that worked.
yeah.
So
But I
thank you
think
for
in
clarifying.
time, when you get more experience with it, you start getting more, you start transcending more and more and more during the meditations, where they get deeper and deeper, and you have so many more spaces and periods in between the repetition of the mantra.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I'm gonna start doing. I might even see about. I was gonna talk to you about doing it on our channel and just start going live every day at the same time to make myself and hold myself accountable to meditate, and people can meditate with me
You
and
know
give.
what? That's a great idea. And we could do it together, because I have to say, I have done this twice with like other groups of meditators, but I don't know how or why, but I notice when I meditate via Zoom with a group, I notice that my meditations are deeper. Absolutely. I mean, so that would be a great thing to do.
Do we have a Jesus approval of like, let's lead a 21 days of just being consistent with getting in the groove of doing like the I am meditation, say for 21 days, twice a day, or even
Wonderful
once a day,
idea.
like just committing to that.
Make it a 30-day commitment. Okay, make it a 30-day commitment.
30 days.
This is an excellent idea, and much more will come from it than you can imagine. There will be a special prayer said before each meditation. Oh, so you're implying that you're going to give us a prayer, special prayer
That
before each
implies that you're
meditation,
doing
Jesus?
this 30-day meditation with me, Connie.
Absolutely. I promise. Yeah, I'm there. I'm in. So yeah, so I guess Jesus is saying he's going to say a special prayer before each meditation. Oh, well, that's special. And oh, this is extremely, uncommon. Father, the formless Father, who, of course, we've communicated to a few times here and there, but not a whole lot. I don't communicate with him very often. So he said, the Father, the formless Father. It's
Yeah.
um, the energy or
The force
life
of
force that
form.
gives
Yeah.
all form life. He will come through and give some messages, maybe some messages. I have no
Oh,
idea what it's going to be about, that he obviously is going to want to share or say. So I guess that will be happening some of the time or all of the time. But wow, that's extra special because I don't think we've spoken to the Father or maybe in a few years or something. I don't,
definitely
it's
not
been a long time
live.
anyway. And
Not
it
live.
hasn't even been a lot of times. Okay. Anything else, Jesus? I will add that a little later, we can add live questions and answers afterward so a little later we can add like live questions and answers, like asking Jesus question and getting it live, and we'll do that for a certain period of time after the meditation. All right.
All right. So that's going to be coming up in the future. We're going to have to work on our
Figure out an
schedule.
ideal time, especially for people that are in different time zones. So
Like us.
yeah, exactly. So we'll have to
So
figure
yeah,
that
that'll
out.
be fun. Yeah, I'm having resistance to the
Great idea.
meditation.
Well, I think most people do. It's not easy at first. It's not easy at first. It takes, they say it takes what, 3 weeks to create a new
Start a
habit.
new habit.
But it's hard to sit down there and say, okay, I'm going to sit here for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and just sit here and do nothing. And then your mind's just going, I have so many things to do. I'm just wasting my time sitting here. I could be getting this
Yeah.
done. And at first it's usually like that for most people anyway. But then, just kind of sticking with it day after day, then it starts to everything starts to sink, kind of calm down, and then starts feeling a little bit of the presence of God inside a little bit, even just a little bit. It's just like, this feels so wonderful. And then it gets to the point you don't want to miss a meditation when you start feeling the benefits and more energy and
Okay.
vitality and inner peace. And then sometimes in the meditation, you start literally feeling just a smidgen of the presence of God awakening a little bit more within you. And it feels like, oh my gosh, that comfort, that peace, that love, that, I want more of that. And then it, just deepens. And in
Yeah.
time, it starts really expanding consciousness where you start having, really profound spiritual awakening experiences or experiences of a higher state of consciousness, even though it might not last because our nervous system or body can't sustain it. But, we keep doing it, and then it lasts longer and it happens more frequently. But it is hard at first for most people, and it was for me, for sure.
Yeah, I've had the benefit of knowing you for probably 10 years now and access to your books and sessions with Jesus. I intellectually grasp the concepts, but I have to put them into action so that I can actually have the experience. Like, I'm to the point in my life where I'm like, no, I'm done with this. Like, I want higher consciousness.
I want to make it more of a
I
priority.
want to make it a priority in my life. I want to make
Yeah.
God and my spirituality and my spiritual growth. And that's why we're here. And that's why this channel's here. So come and
Yeah.
join us if this is where you're at, or even if you're just starting out. But
Yes.
that's what we're for.
Yes. We want to feel that deeper connection to our source, our soul, God, and
Whatever word you want to call it.
yeah,
I think
whatever
it's
word you want to
fine.
call it. Yes.
Unmind, consciousness,
Yes, the
Christ.
unmind. I really love that. Yeah. It's non-threatening to anybody, So
Exactly. I just feel like there's so much charge, but usually that charge with the word shows that there's something underlying that you have to heal.
true.
You
Or
believe there's a
overcome.
separation
Maybe some
between,
hurt or,
yeah,
something there. Yeah.
there's something there that you need to heal if there's a charge emotionally. We have one last question, and this is going to tie into what Jesus wanted to talk about, but we're pretty far into this episode. Maybe he can just give us a little teaser and we'll really dedicate next episode to what he wants to talk about with what's coming. Those dark sunglasses that everybody, like, we're all creators, right? But most of us are creating from the dark sunglasses place, not the
Yeah.
rose-colored sunglasses place.
Right.
So, I feel like that's kind of why we're coming down into this path of dark versus rose or light.
Right. That's a good analogy though.
So, our last question from our viewers was how much darkness before the light, and what will the new earth be like? And how long would it take to make that a tangible experience? So, kind of like three questions, but one question of like, how much darkness are we going to have to endure until we
Yes.
manifest the new earth?
Question. And this is you, Jesus. So Jesus is here and he says, this is the beginning of a several year period of time that's more darkness, more darkness, more darkness, more challenges, more hardship, struggle, stress, violence, war, calamity, chaos. We're in 2025 right now. So several years. I just want to try to hone it in, Jesus, a little more. Could technically be what, 6, 7, 8, 9 years? I mean, not 9, 8, no, 7 to 8 years. Kind of right in between the 7 to 8 year mark from now.
From
And
now.
so we're in July 2025, just to kind of point that out. So approximately about 7 to 8 year period of time from now, where some people are going to be becoming more abundant, more healthy, more free, more light, expanding more or evolving more, and they will be positioned in a higher experience in life, regardless of what's going on earth around the world. So they are going to be experiencing more joy, beauty, abundance, and all good things that anybody wants for themselves, because they are at that level of consciousness where they're creating this. And it does not matter what's going on around you. You will change your world, your environment, your body, your life, regardless, is if there's a whole war all around you. You will be in my, meaning Jesus's arms, carrying you through it, untouched, unfazed, untouched. And this is not just a saying or that sounds nice or to help, build more faith. It's truth. It's reality. It is an imaginary world that you live in. Anything, it can happen. Anything is possible. And it's based on your state of consciousness. And how do you expand consciousness? You become more still minded and you open the heart's love and you heal the blocks. That's, boy, we could have and the whole session talking about that one. So yes, the blocks, the fears, the unhealed pain and fears from God knows how many lifetimes so that are there. And that's why, of course, a big part of spiritual growth, always includes emotional healing, because we have blocks that need to be healed and then released, and then more light can come through. Yes, yes. So there will be a period of time of more calamity in the world, and for the majority of the people. It will be the minority of the people that are at a higher state of consciousness, which I hope includes us.
Right.
Yeah, better get to meditating and praying. Oh my goodness. Sorry to say that. Oh my gosh. Don't mean to be silly, but I'm
Very
just that, my
ego-based,
little ego.
Connie.
Okay, I hope that includes me. And the world is going to be become kind of like a World War III, not really safe in most places, kind of like no orderliness. He's saying like an orderliness less. So not like a law
No law and
abiding
order.
society, no law and order. Yeah. And businesses not like they are today. Many businesses aren't operating. Not You don't have availability of things as available, and more people going crazy, more people angry and violent and hateful, more people like he's saying the words, quote, losing it. And this energy creates from each and every one of us, the energy that we emanate and give off creates. And I would like to talk sometime soon about this in more detail for how to be in the light through this dark period, because you can absolutely be in the light, be safe, protected, well, and actually even beyond doing good during this time. And this is actually the most important reason we're here together, is to help give guidance and advice for how to expand consciousness and be in the light during this next several year period of time. Illnesses, disasters, wars, calamity, economic collapses or economy getting worse, just kind of many different forms or ways of society just getting more challenging, more problematic and chaotic, disharmony. But the light is more powerful than the dark. Where there is light, the dark disappears. So we are going to discuss this regularly, frequently, ongoing, and we'll be making changes for the better by far. Enable us to make changes, better changes in our lives.
All
Wow, we
right.
could talk
Yeah.
probably, who
That will
knows,
be
forever on topics on that. Yeah.
endless content on that one,
Yes, that would be endless content, right?
which I look forward to, but not today.
Right.
Any last message from heaven? Oh, I forgot. I gotta ask heaven's view. Usually we're gonna like ask spirit to weigh in on a topic of like current events. And I just can't help thinking we just had a major earthquakes and major volcanoes going off. There's tsunami warnings throughout the Pacific Islands, which is where my husband's from, and we have family there. So what's going on? Are the solar storms causing this? Is the earth, can we expect more of this? Is the earth angry? Like what's going on? What's
Yeah, is the
what's
earth
heaven's view on
angry
all these like volcanoes are
with
going
how
off?
we're, ruining the environment and Mother Earth? And is it, yeah, getting angry? Like technically, Mother Earth
Yeah.
is a living being, supposedly. Um, that's a great question. And there's like, yeah, these bizarre natural disasters going on lately. Hawaii,
And are they
Asheville.
natural? Are they
Yeah,
natural?
so-called natural, and I don't know if they are or not, but like, in California and this and just others. Anyway,
No,
yes.
I know they have earthquake machines too. So anyway, but is it
Yeah.
man-made? Is it earth? What's going on
Good
here?
question. This is a humongous question. First, it might be a different answer for each quote
Area.
natural disaster,
Okay.
but is this earthquake that took place around Russia or something, and has created some of these tsunamis around Hawaii, Japan, California, Alaska, whatever. Is is this like a natural disaster that, yeah, Mother Earth is just naturally doing? It's just a natural creation of nature? No. Oh, absolutely no. Big strong no. Absolutely no. Asheville, no. Hawaii, no.
Mm. The fires?
California, the fires, no. These are intentional. Absolutely, they are intentional, and there are more coming. One is in the center of the United States that will almost divide the whole entire country, almost, with water. A huge, kind of like a sinkhole, like where the earth kind of caves in a bit and creates a humongous, like big, thick, wide river or something. It will bring great destruction, floods, destruction of land. We will discuss safer locations to be in coming up. But there are definitely more, quote, natural disasters coming up. And these are intentional. The goal behind the people doing these. So it's interesting he says people, because that's a big clue there. People. So that's human beings. I'm just curious.
More than one.
Right, right,
Not
right.
person. Not person. So there's people.
Yeah, as it forces, beyond Earth or ETs or something doing this. So yeah, people, okay, that are intending on creating a much reduced population on the planet and change how people live on Earth. The goal is to create like a conformed society that's it's kind of like very conformed. That's just the word. That might be a little vague, but it's very conformed. It's kind of very controlled. It's very small world, like a small, um, and we will talk more about this also.
Okay, great. We're going to leave it there because there's a lot. There's a lot we
Yeah,
could go
that could go
into.
on for that could go on for a long time. Yeah, wow,
Okay.
interesting.
Okay, so it's people behind this earthquake in Russia. Is it American people?
Good question. Some of them are American.
Is
Yes.
it military people?
Question. Oh, no. It's not military people, but sometimes they are involved, but the people above them that are like their bosses or tell them what to do, and they need to do what they're supposed to do unless they want to quit
Okay.
their job or something, I guess.
So there's a chain of command,
Yeah, yeah, there are people that do
like
tell
contractor
some,
or
yeah, yeah,
intel or
people that like bosses of, and so sometimes the military is involved, but it's not really the military, it's the people above them that are doing this, and they're basically just taking orders, I
so like
guess. Is
deep
that how it
state.
is, Jesus? Like, yeah, 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 exactly. And they are from various countries, numerous countries, like about two dozen countries. So there's people from about 2 dozen countries that are a group of people that have a plan, this plan to change how people live on Earth, to make a lot of changes that they obviously feel for some reason is better or
Who's at the head of this like snake of 12-ish or whatever countries? Who
yeah, so
who's at the
it's a
head?
couple dozen people. Yes, and they also have some people connected to them that are a part of it or participate, maybe like helpers, assistants, or other people that managers that direct this or this. I don't know. So there's more people than just 2 dozen, but really the
Okay.
top of the very head is like 2 dozen people. Mm, I'm not even sure if I should say this. But
We
If
can
you
edit it
even
out.
want me to say this,
We'll
just
just
say
edit it out.
Stacy. Right. If not, we can edit it out.
We don't feel safe, we'll edit it out.
Right, right. But no, I'm surprised he says this very clearly and blatantly. He says this is the cabal. Now, I don't know exactly who the cabal is. I'm not sure most people do. I think a lot of people guess
Yeah, we don't
or
really know.
have
That's
an
why I was like,
idea.
who is
But when
it?
they
Is it
say
like the
that,
World Economic
but it is
Forum?
like the cabal, like a group of people that like want to, yeah. So
What ties them all together? Why are this group come together to work together and reduce the population? What
they are governed by the devil, like literally. They are following the devil's wishes, goals, or guidance. Go ahead.
did
Yikes.
they trade like their soul for power and all this stuff to get in the position they are to do this bidding? Like was there like a transaction?
Yeah, like technically, were they literally consciously?
Were they like approached by Satan and like, "Hey, I'm going to give you power and money and a high position, but you're going to do this. You're going to follow my orders."
Right. Good
Does that
question.
happen? Is that like a
Yeah. Does it
contract?
happen like that? Did that happen to these people? No. Yes. 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 Like every one of them, it happened where they were like given the human conscious choice. They made a conscious choice. Yes. 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 And the devil exists and always and will. Oh, he's correcting me. Not always. I said and always will. He's negating the word always and will until I return, which is coming. And most of the population will be gone. There'll be a much lesser population on earth. People who are willing and able to live in harmony and peace. That's all. So they're of a level of consciousness where they're simply able to live in peace and harmony. These are the people that are going to remain on earth and rebuild earth and heal each other. And then I am coming back. And that is when the devil will never again exist on earth, influence earth, be on earth, and peace on earth will be created again. Wow. Like, is that really even possible? Because, this is a duality existence, and there's
Yeah, how is
always
that
been,
possible?
pardon?
Yeah,
And you're
how is
right.
that possible? I don't get it.
Yeah. How is that possible? Because it isn't like that, how earth works, like how it's created. It's a dual existence. There's good and bad, hot and cold. There's love and fear. There's the devil and evil and God and love. There's always been divine beings since humanity began. There's always been evil beings since humanity began. Every religion talks about that and acknowledges that.
Right.
This is going to be created. Peace on earth, and um, who the devil will not be in existence here anymore. Wow, interesting. That was kind of creepy talking about that D word.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
yeah,
Doesn't scare
but
me.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's evil forces always going on, and you can follow one or you can follow the other. I mean, it's really is
Yeah.
kind of simple and
I love that, people think that this is all a
hard to
fairy.
imagine though. I
Yeah.
mean, did these people know it's the devil literally, that it's literally like Satan? And
Oh
that
yeah.
he's for badness and not good and not loving and like has bad intentions, and like did these people know that, like that it was literally like the devil, like the opposite of God or angels or Jesus? They absolutely knew. Yes. Wow, that is
And they took the offer.
creepy.
It's all a big club. Is it what George Carlin that said, "It's all a big club and you and I ain't in it."
Right. Right.
But I
A
don't wanna
club
be
where
in
we
it.
ain't in.
That's
Right.
good.
Yeah. We are, my gosh.
Okay. Any last messages to wrap up? Any prayer? Anything we wanna say to end episode number 4?
Yes, Jesus. Anything you'd like to say? Thank you for being here, and more will be revealed. And know that I, meaning Jesus, of course, am always with you, and waiting for you to ask me for support, help. Anyone who ever asks for me, I will be there and bring you my loving support. Remember that your mind, that does not matter what your mind thinks or believes. I guess, are you referring to what religion you might be, or does this include Jewish people or atheists or agnostics, or people that are into Buddhism instead or Hinduism instead? Like, you mean, is that how you mean it? Like anybody, does it matter what you think or believe? Or if you're a different religion than Christian? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what your mind, it's just completely irrelevant. It's just the mind's thoughts or beliefs. They really don't mean much of anything. So, okay. Just want to ask that to confirm. Yeah.
Alright, well, the mind anything that comes from the mind is not the unmind, so we just have to, like, keep that throughout our day. That's my little favorite word now. I'm like,
Yeah, I like that
just
too.
gonna stay in the unmind and try to keep my
Yes.
mind a little quieter.
I like that a lot, Stacy. I do. I like that a lot. I'm going to use that
Yeah.
too.
We'll have to plan our 30-day meditation challenge on our next
That was such a great idea. And yeah,
we look forward to seeing
and
you
it'll
on the
help
next.
everyone kind of maybe get regular with meditation.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll
Do
help
it.
us that first month that's the hardest
Mhm.
to, take that time and get used to that. So we'll all be kind of like a buddy system for each other. Yeah.
That's right.
So
We're holding
good
ourselves
here.
accountable, so we'll work on that in the off episode here and figure out and launch our good time for our 30-day meditation live. We're gonna go
Yeah.
live with
And
God.
then sometime after that, it'll be exciting. Then we can start doing live Q&As after that. That'll be
Yeah,
neat.
I like it. Well, I look forward to it. Thank you for this episode, Jesus, Divine
Thank you,
Mother,
Jesus, Divine
Connie, everybody
Mother.
who came in.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
everybody, for
Stacy.
watching, and leave us your questions, comments, below in the video. We look forward
Yes,
to
please. If you
answering
have any
them.
questions for Jesus or the angels or whoever, let us know. We'd be happy to answer them.
Wonderful.